So we're just a couple weeks into the NBA season so far, and one team that does not look good whatsoever is the Milwaukee Bucks. At the time of recording this video, they currently sit with a 1-3 record, and Giannis and Dame have no chemistry whatsoever. People are already asking for Doc Rivers to be fired, which I'm not surprised by, and this team overall is on its final chance, and they're not showing to do anything with that chance. I know that I usually like to say that the first week of the season doesn't usually matter, but there's certain things that don't matter. For example, if you lose to, let's say, the Pistons, I'm not really tripping about that. However, my issue is when you don't look like you have any chemistry whatsoever, and just a lot of the other things we're going to talk about in this video, when those things show, those are a bad telltale sign that you're just not going to do well that year. So really quick, let's just kind of recap the past 4 games that Milwaukee's played. In game 1, they played the Sixers on opening night, and they looked okay. Now granted, Philly almost came back despite not having Paul George or Joel Embiid, but regardless, they still got the win. That's all that matters. In game 2 of the season, they were playing the Chicago Bulls. Oh great, you're probably gonna go 2-0. Nope, that's not what happened. Kobe White had 35, Zach LaVine had 25, and Nikola Vucevic actually looked pretty good, having 22 and 10. Man, how the fuck did you make Nikola Vucevic look good, huh? And in a surprise to just about everyone, the Chicago Bulls would win by 11. But okay, it's early on in the season, and sure, there are things we can nitpick, but still, how do you lose that game? Well, in game 3, they're playing the Brooklyn Nets, and surely enough, they can beat Brooklyn. Somehow, they make Cam Thomas and Dennis Schroeder look like all-stars, even though Cam Thomas, he might be an all-star this year, but that's a whole other conversation. But I don't care, you still lose to the Brooklyn Nets in pretty disappointing fashion. And then in the following game, they lose to Boston, which I want to say, oh, that's just Boston. I mean, they're undefeated right now. They're arguably the best team in basketball, but that was still a winnable game. And because of a lot of things, you just let it go by. So as of right now, they're 1-3, and tonight they're playing Memphis, which, if I'm going to be honest, I'm confident in Memphis. I don't think Milwaukee's going to win this game. Now, I want to hop right into it. Let's talk about Giannis and Dame for just a minute. Giannis and Dame, these are the 2 key players on this team. If they do bad, the team does bad. But here's what doesn't make sense. Giannis and Dame, if they were doing bad, I would expect the record to translate, which again, 1-3, you would think both those guys are doing bad. That's not the case. If anything, Giannis and Dame look great from last season. I mean, do you guys remember the beginning of last year? Dame was just struggling, and people were already saying that trade was aging like milk. Well, Dame and Giannis are both averaging 28 points per game on pretty good shooting, so we can't blame them. They are not to blame. Now, I will say their chemistry isn't the best. I will say they don't look like they're playing together. It looks more of like isolation ball. I mean, you would think a Dame and Giannis pick and roll would be unstoppable, but they just don't look together. But again, it's okay. I mean, even in the offseason, I think it came out that they didn't really practice as much together. That's what the regular season is for, and that's fine. As long as you guys are individually doing well, then eventually things should click. But it's other factors like the coaching and the rotation that we got to talk about. Also, I know that Chris Middleton is injured right now. I'm very much aware of that. And I am going to say this is one of the reasons why they're struggling. But I'm sorry, I don't think Chris Middleton being out is the reason they're losing all of these games. I mean, you should be able to beat the Brooklyn Nets even without Chris Middleton. Hell, take away Dame, you should be able to beat the Brooklyn Nets. But no, coaching is something that I'm not even surprised we got to talk about. And also, I know in the last video, I said I was going to talk about coaching and I didn't. Honestly, the best way I could put this is a deleted scene. Basically, I meant to talk about it. It got cut for time. I didn't want to make the video too long. And, you know, we had a schedule. But I want to talk about coaching right now so I don't forget. Basically, Doc Rivers should have never gotten the job. And I saw a very interesting stat yesterday. When Adrian Griffin was fired, they were 32-14. But they fired Adrian Griffin. And why would they do that? Well, because he lost the locker room and Giannis didn't want him. So you get Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers was the solution to your problem, because ever since getting Doc Rivers, they haven't looked like the same basketball team. They have progressively gotten worse. It's shocking why they haven't done something about Doc yet. Like, listen, if Giannis and Griffin had problems, you could have fixed them. I mean, let's think of a great example for a sec, right? Erik Spoelstra and LeBron, they did not like each other in Miami, but they worked together. And what did you know? When they finally got on the same page, they became a great basketball team. team. But unfortunately, and I love Giannis, but I legitimately think he's like, I'm not going to work with them, and he got him fired, which was so invalid, by the way, because Milwaukee looked like a great team, even though Dame was struggling early on in the year and they had a bunch of injuries and just other problems going on. I mean, what were people saying about the Bucks before? Oh, with Adrian Griffin, they had no defense. Well, what the hell do you think is going on with Milwaukee right now? I try not to be the guy to blame a coach, but I'm sorry. Ever since hiring Doc Rivers, they're 19 and 23. They have progressively gotten worse, and the team has never looked the same. How can I look at Doc Rivers joining the team, look at these numbers, and not think, something's not right? I mean, I don't even know why Doc Rivers is given a chance in today's NBA, and maybe I'll make a video about it, but I don't understand. Is he blackmailing the league? Does he know something about Adam Silver we don't know? I promise you, we all think he's probably a lizard. I mean, no human looks that fucking weird. I mean, look at that head. I mean, it's not NBA nerd big, but it's a big ass head. But I'm sorry, I don't think that Doc should have ever gotten the job. He won one championship in Boston, and he's never been the same. He's known to blow leads. He's known for not making adjustments. He's known for turning teams that were once contenders into a fiery ball of, I don't even know how to explain it. Y'all know that one scene in Dark Knight where Joker blows up the hospital? That's basically what Doc Rivers does to an NBA team. Ladies and gentlemen, before we hop back into the video, if you guys are enjoying it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, today is Halloween. If you can't tell by my costume, I'm a bum-ass Lakers fan. And since it's Halloween, you know what I'm saying, I got a little bit of candy, you know what I'm saying? It does, I don't know if you can read it. It says, please take 2, but if, again, you leave a like and you subscribe, you can take 4. Let's see, we got Kit Kats, Jolly Ranchers, Hershey's, Twizzlers. No one wants that. No one likes Twizzlers. I'm sorry. I want to have confidence in this team, and I want to believe they're going to be better. But I've seen the writing on the wall ever since last season, and I don't know if Milwaukee has what it takes. I thought they had a solid offseason, and some of the guys they've gotten, they just haven't lived up to my standards so far. Overall, this team is just not well structured right now, and they need a change. And again, I'm going to reiterate this because I've always been one of the people that have said, guys, it's the beginning of the season. Let's just calm down. And sure, you know what? Maybe by the end of the season, this team will muster up 47 wins and they're like a 4 seed in the playoffs. Or even if hell was to freeze over and the Bucks are now the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs, I expect them to lose in the first round. This team has done okay in the regular season for the past couple years, and then they blew it all away in the playoffs. And sure, we can blame injuries, but I don't think injuries is going to be the reason this year. I honestly believe that something is going to need to change within this team or they're screwed. Whether that is Doc Rivers getting fired or Giannis getting traded. Now I will say, I'm starting to notice a little trend right now because the Bucks are one team that have been struggling, but another contender is the Nuggets. And this is not going to be a Nuggets video. I do plan on making another video if they continue to do bad. But I keep seeing this parallel between the two teams. Both teams win a championship. Oh my God, their star player, their number one guy is now the face of the NBA right now. But then they lose a key player, but people don't think about it. And then the following year, they lose a playoff series that they should not have lost. And then it just all goes downhill from there. And I think Milwaukee is currently in that stage of going downhill. And if both of these parallels are the same thing, then I expect Denver to also be bad. But again, that's a whole other video for a whole other reason. The point I'm trying to make is that when Chris Middleton does inevitably come back, if this team doesn't get it together, someone's got to get fired, someone's got to get traded. I don't want to say that the Bucks are currently in hell right now, but that's just the way I see it. But ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you guys think about the Milwaukee Bucks in the comment section below. Just take the candy, bro. You want some candy? Here you go, man.